Okay. All right. So, only 15 minutes late. Practically.
We have a 30-minute window for technical issues. You're fine.
Do we? Oh my God. All right. When we last left our heroes, that's okay.
Robots, Mr. Rico, zillions of them.
Zillions of them, Mr. Rico. All right. So Alicia and Concord and Mercury, are at Rosa Rook's Rook Plaza 1 or something. And Leo and Charlotte are aboard Otto/Phoenix, jet setting their way back to the city with a murmur of robots, hypothetically in tow, although according to Otto, not as in tow as they were a hot second ago. Also in the cab, Ted Waters and Rossum. What did you say his first name was? I was going with that, but I don't have the notes up right now.
So I gave him the real name of Carl Titale.
Yeah, most people just go with Rossum. Rosa might know the real name, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that she would. I mean, I don't know. All right. So, and Rosa had just recently, some of Alicia's perceptions of things, I think, were a little bit different. Rosa had called to have somebody put under watch or control or something like that, put in a cell, and then got a call back that that had gone awry. And about the same time that she got that call, all the Rossum bots altered their flight path. So, I am going to start with Alicia and say, I guess, sort of, what do you do? Rossum is cursing at her phone. Rook is cursing at her phone. Yeah, that's a problem. Having those two be allies was I really should have picked a different person. Rook, she's not cursing. She is growling, get it under control threats into her phone. Otto is on the comm saying, hey guys, the robots have altered course. A little bit, not a lot, but they're definitely changing direction. What do you do?
Well, I assume I'm just arriving, since I had done my previous comment while sort of en route.
Right. Or you can
Harry
be about to be arriving.
I'm sorry?
You could be about to be arriving, like you could be down on the street coming up to the building or anything like that. I mean, all this stuff is...
I'm not sure if my really cool vehicle will, like, drive up the side of Rook Plaza 1.
This may not be the moment to find out, either.
Yeah, maybe not.
It probably can't fly.
Otto, if the robots are changing course slightly, can you tell where they're changing course toward?
I mean, I can draw a line, and
yeah, that probably isn't good enough.
I mean, I don't know where. I mean, I don't know what their destination is. I can show you the.
I had asked a question at the end of last week's game of you, Doyce, which I didn't get an answer for, and I forgot about until just this moment. So
I kind of remember that you asked a question, but that was it. So what was the question?
The question was, what do I know about relationship, if any, between my father's skullduggery and anything related to Rook Industries?
Oh, there's not a lot of. Honestly, he's bombed her as much as he's ever worked with her. He is the. I mean, this isn't quite right, but he's very much the evils of late stage capitalism
Right.
taken to their for him logical explosive conclusion, and Rook really personifies that. So it's kind of I can't even think. It's the kind of thing that makes me wonder why Ra's al Ghul and Lex Luthor ever worked together. Because Ra's is supposed to be all like, let's wipe out 2/3 of the population or 3/4 of the population so that we can get the planet.
There's a good answer.
Lex
to
is a
that.
useful tool.
There's a good answer for that. They both think they're playing the other.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And barring that, they really work to cross purposes, and Rook is Rook is definitely in that same kind of slot. I had this weekend chatting likened her to sort of Amanda Waller in personality with Lex Luthor's like resources and some of his brain, and certainly the resources part. And I don't know that that was necessarily anybody else here, but it's certainly how I do. That's the voice playing in my head when she talks anyway, Amanda Waller. So barring Lex's charisma, which I don't know that she necessarily has, she probably wouldn't work very often with your dad.
That's fine. I can imagine cases where again, yeah, that I'm making use of her / him towards greater purposes. If he wipes out those people there, then I can build my mine after he's left.
Rook has statistically very, very, very consistently opted toward when Rook engages, let's say, meta talent, it's almost always of the buyable sort, not the criminal sort. So it may be your white capes that just need to make ends meet. It's the gray capes that just are really like, I've got powers and I'm going to sell those to the highest bidder. And even in that case, they only publicly will retain people who don't have a lot of, don't really have like a demonstrable criminal background, or they may have a bad rep, but they've been cleared of it.
Right.
So you've got your facets, you've got your who I mean, even now probably legally going to get off at some point in time because she was just functioning to defend, quote unquote, huge misunderstanding based on entirely legal proceedings defending a Rook inhabited, property that they were working on.
So they're sort of they're the Monsanto and Exxon and kind of the evil corporation that doesn't play fast and loose unless there's absolutely no way that it's ever going to circle back to them. But they're okay with playing a little loose and a little fast if it's to their advantage.
Yeah, I mean they might keep the superpowered version of Blackwater on retainer. But not if they pick up a bunch of bad press. Then the relationship's cut off. I mean, Troll's about the worst that you're likely to see them retain publicly and directly like related. That might actually, he might not be that far of a red line for them, but and even then it's going to be like, well, we're taking him in and giving him positive reinforcement and a positive place to express himself.
Giving him meaning to his life.
Yeah, we're giving some meaning to his life to turn things around. This is an opportunity for him to do some good for the community and so on and so forth. He's defending a school.
Blah, blah, blah.
He's defending a school for Pete's sake. So yeah, that's
okay. That's
fine.
Fine.
That's kind of what the deal is there. So yeah, I mean, even Rossum's thing is likely to be. Rook has a really good habit of if they did a thing, they either think that it's not going to ever come to light, or if it does, they don't sign a contract without having analyzed, if this comes to light, how will we defend it and spin it so that it's fine? Like, that is in place before they start a thing, let alone
Right.
when it goes sideways. That's just
I am absolutely sure that they have some fallback position around having, Rossum's clone working for them building robots.
Right. We didn't know it was Rossum's clone. It was.
I had no idea, and he inadvertently triggered that security system and dropped down that shaft to the center of the Earth.
We are as much a victim as everybody else.
Exactly. We plan on suing his estate.
And they can actually point rather definitively to the amount of property damage that they've taken in the last 2 hours and be able to.
Exactly.
They can.
How would this possibly have redounded in our favor? Obviously, we are as much a victim as anyone else. Yeah.
And from a monetary point of view,
vote American. Got it.
10 times the victim. Anyway.
So okay.
I mean, if you get if it's not if auto draws a line on a map, you might be able to do something with that.
I might be able to figure that. I might be able to do one of those, assess the situation things.
Exactly. I mean, you have I think a spatial awareness that works well with envisioning.
And I might in fact, just when you said, I may have a very good awareness of Rook properties.
Yes. I mean, just because your dad didn't work with her often doesn't mean you're not familiar with her. She's a mover and shaker, and like I said, as frequently a target as she would be an ally. So certainly you'd be aware of.
Can you draw a line here on my map?
I can send you something.
That would be great. Yes.
Okay.
So send me a set of coordinates, and I will actually just tell me the coordinates. I can draw a line in my head. Got it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. And he starts reading off a couple of. Used to do this all the time. We had an online text-based version of BattleTech that used to play in college, and there was a point at which you could tell me the speed and the heading on something, and I would know which hex they were going to hit in about 20 seconds, which you had to be able to guess because the connection was like a 2400 baud modem, so you had to be able to just sort of make sure you're facing that hex and fire, and hopefully
a lot of leading. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it knew who you were targeting, that's fine, but you still had to be facing the right direction, and guessing where that was going to be was always kind of fun. And you're kind of doing that. So why don't you give me an assess the situation to see what these bots are up to?
I think that's a fine idea.
I will swatch on over here. Whoop. Beep. Wow. Look at that. Somebody has been working out her superior in her prison cell, Sarah Connor, doing brain pull-ups.
Yeah, the back behind the head brain pull-ups.
When you assess the situation on the 10, ask 2. Otto helpfully fills in a whole bunch of little tiny red dots in a cloud at one end of the little image.
Actually, he should be able to. I mean, if he's tracking a wide array of robots that have been coming from different directions.
Well, no, he's basically figuring out the ones that are behind him.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he's and he's basically drawing that I know my heading is 268. So, and they're veering off 2 degrees, so they're at 270, and that sort of thing.
Right. So is there, looking at the assess the situation questions,
what here is the biggest threat would probably would certainly get you to where the heck do I think these things are going?
I think that's probably a good one to choose.
Okay. there are Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. So there's some Rook properties along that line, sort of nominally along that swath, and line being what it is, you get a little bit of variance there.
Yeah.
Along that, sort of along the south side of Halcyon as it heads out, kind of out into the away from the water, south end of the city. But they're all a little bit easy. Like, it's a Rook shipping, shipping hub, and it's a Rook manufacturing plant, and it's a industrial park where it's like half offices and half production and that sort of thing. Maybe this, maybe that, but they're all kind of like too almost pedestrian.
Mm-hmm.
So what on that line, as you quickly grab it and throw it over top of a map, says to you, this is definitely what location there is so definitively not
pointing. This is pointing south, kind of along the coastline.
No, the coastline of the city is
okay.
along the north side, so it's along the south,
Okay.
kind of away from the water. What there is so definitively not a Rook property that it's probably where they're secretly at or headed.
Oh, something that's not a Rook property.
So you're like, no, too obvious.
That would have to.
What is it?
That would have to be the decommissioned Two Rivers nuclear plant.
Oh my God, really? Nuclear plant? Oh, I was thinking like a company that doesn't even really like no. Okay. Okay.
And it wasn't decommissioned because it like reached end of life. There was some serious technical issue that arose with it, and it was shut down by federal regulators. And
they've taken out all the piles and.
Well, obviously, I mean,
yeah.
Of course they have. I mean, I read an article about it.
It's a bunch of just gigantic cement bunkers and that sort of thing. Okay. So what do you do, given that? And keep in mind, you got another question here that you can keep around for whatever. It's the thing where if you use it, take +1 while acting on the answers. You could. I mean, there's probably if your guess is right, you could probably get a little leverage over Rosa Rook as well. All that sort of thing.
Actually,
or you can simply
Well, here, I was going to do something very mundane, like how can we best end this quickly? But I like the idea of what here can I use to exert pressure on Rosa Rook to get her cooperation.
It would be really messy for Rook to handle all of our robots went berserk. They're all designed from this other guy that we can kind of claim we didn't know who he was, except he looks exactly like this other guy thing. And on top of that, we seem to have been keeping him underneath a decommissioned, nuclear power plant that, so we had there's a potential there for a lot of ugliness with senators and congressmen who made that thing available for them, or they're using it without permission. Either way, it's a bit of a hot mess. So I got, putting the question to her of like, asking her something very pointed about what kind of defenses can we expect when we go and get this guy from the, decommissioned nuclear power plant thing, could leave her blinking in the headlights pretty hard, kind of a deal.
So what sort of defenses can we expect when we follow these or anticipate the course of these robots to the Two Rivers plant?
And I want to frame this. Are you
Ms.
up
Rook.
there finally, or are you?
No, I'll still be on comms. I'm not gonna I'm not going to try to go up the side of the building yet. And
Okay, so somehow
going
it's
through the front door and trying to work my way through security seems like it will take time. And if I'm going to be pursuing these guys, I don't want to get off my incredibly cool cycle.
Okay, so I guess you're being kind of broadcast through
through the channel that I think Harry had kind of set up,
or something, you know, kind of getting broadcast at least somewhat.
They're in her office.
Okay, sure.
It's all across our comms was my impression.
Yeah. Well, you can choose it. You can, I guess, choose whether or not she's seeing it. All that kind of good stuff. But
well, I mean, Harry had done something that Harry had set up some sort of a visual so that she could see Leo and
projector on the sleeve
and Rossum,
yeah,
projector on his sleeve kind of thing. So I'm tying into that, and I assume that there's some level of encryption on this stuff, so that we're not like broadcasting on channel 11 across the city.
Sure. Okay. So what are you? I mean, you get a bonus on this. You left her vulnerable. You get a. Are you provoking? Are you piercing them? Like, what are you trying to? Are you trying to figure out what she's really up to? Are you trying to get a particular kind of reaction to her? Panic, some sort of panicked thing.
I am directly engaging her with this.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
And I want to impress / surprise / frighten her. By how much it seems is known about her schemes.
I like that. Let's have that danger roll. Are you just...
Oh gosh, that danger roll that I also am at a +4.
+4.
And I'm taking a +1. I'm taking a +1 on this.
Shouldn't be a +4.
Well, no. I'm my danger is high.
Right,
so,
and then you get a +1 condition.
Then I get a +1. So let me add the 1 to the situational bonus.
And you get a 13. Are you kidding me?
I don't think so.
At a +4, not a +4. Thank you, James, for sorting that out. I was confused.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I was wondering if I didn't say +4, did I?
Yeah. You're at a +4. Okay. So you get let's look at that real quick. You get with the directly engaged. We're gonna immediately go for GM says resist or avoid their blows. And the other one is impress, surprise, or frighten the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the idea? And then she actually
Yep.
sort of takes a condition. Okay. Alrighty. So let me just I need to look at Rose's stuff here real quick. So you say over the comms, what is it exactly that you said over the comms?
So, Ms. Rook, what sort of defenses can we expect over at Two Rivers?
Oh, wow. Okay. Alrighty. Here for a second while where is Miss Rook? Take a look at her. Okay. You got me scrambled a little bit. I wasn't expecting to be an attack thing, so I can tell you have a whole bunch of pity for me on this one.
Uh-huh. Ooh. Although that reminds me. Did I take that? I'll remember that next time.
Where is the oh, bugger. in the wrong folder. Sorry. No. Oh my lord, where is it all? Sorry, I'm trying to find the, ugh, God. This is what I get for not having this stuff out already. I'm trying to find the stupid GM moves, and they should be right there, and they're not there. Or not the GM moves, but the thing that lists what a villain does when you punch them in the face.
I got the PDF right here if you want
What
me
the
to send
heck
it.
is that? Well, I've got it. I just can't figure out where the heck it is. What's it called? Like, what's the file called? GM. Oh, there it is. I found it. Sorry, I'm a dummy. Condition moves. All right, she is. She's not going to do that. All right. So I'm going to have her take angry. Okay. So for the two of you that are actually in the room, you hear Alicia's voice come out over Harry's sort of wrist mic hologram thing. We'll just have, for the sake of fun, that you can see Alicia's face kind of being head shot kind of being windblown as she's saying all this
with a mask.
What can we expect from so and so?
What kind of defenses can we expect over at Two Rivers?
And she looks, for a second, her eyes kind of widen. And she starts to say, like, what? And then they narrow. And and she mutters something like, oh, who would hear this? Well, either one of you guys would probably hear this. She turns and starts stalking out of the room, and she's muttering something like, recruited someone clever, finally. But yeah, she's just storming out of the room. So no help there, but a palpable hit. Concord, what do you do?
So she's storming off. We know where this is going to be. We know there's going to be a whole bunch of robots there, right?
Yep.
Let's start heading that way.
Yeah, and there's a little voice in the back of your head that sounds a lot like your dad going, you can't actually do anything to her. She hasn't broken any laws that we've been able to prove yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I'm just throwing that in there. Not that you're even really thinking about it, but it's like, yeah, I know, Dad, kind of thought. Do you know, you're familiar with the closed down Two Rivers nuclear power plant? Really? Okay. Are you heading that way, flying? What are you doing?
I'm going to assume Harry can get himself that way. So yeah.
I just have this idea of you putting yourself inside of a glowing energy ball, like in the middle, like you're not touching the edges, and having Harry in there too, and he just runs really fast to move the ball.
We are not hamster balling this.
Really hamster ball.
I can fly.
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of fun.
How are you doing that? I don't know.
All right. So, Harry, what do you do? Because the voice in your head, if it sounds like your dad, is punch her anyway. Let somebody else figure out what she did wrong. Not super helpful. Not usually right either.
Think I will not punch her at this point.
Yeah. There's obviously there's security guards around and stuff like that. Not that that's much of a deterrent, but you know, I can't help but think of that whole thing. It's like, son, if you intend to detain me, you'll have to speak to my lawyer. The lawyer steps forward, and the gun arm comes out.
I think it would be. I think I would be more useful going down to the Two Rivers plant.
Okay. Link, while she's still in the room and the mic connection, I mean, she's still there within earshot, anything, do you want to hook her for something, anything that you wanted to get in on her? Because
Leo doesn't need a hooker. He's got Arya.
It's terrible. It's just terrible. But she's still a target for moves against her, or you can save that for later because I know you've still got that little +1 buzzing around your head that's with her name engraved on it.
I'm going to save that for later when I have a better case. But I have a question for Ted.
Okay. All right.
Are you guys going to try to spin this out of her responsibility again?
No. We're gonna. I mean, I can't say for sure what's gonna happen, but I mean, come on, 98% of the robots that I'm looking at out the back window here have Rook logos on the chest, and they came after an Aegis facility. We're gonna have a field day with that. Is anything criminal going to come down on her? No, but she's going to get fined within an inch of her life, and it's going to rock her back on a lot of government contracts and a couple other things. So no, this is good for us. You're not going to have to worry about a unified front between her and us at this point in time.
That's good. Just one more thing then. You're not going to charge me with like destruction of evidence or anything, are you?
Are you asking because of something you're about to do or something you already did?
About to do.
I really want to know what that is first a little bit, I guess. What?
We have 10,000 robots out there. We'll start a countdown, and we're going to pull off.
I don't think unless you intend to destroy all of them. I think we have enough evidence of their activity to not really cry too much. I mean, you're supposed to smash robots. That's kind of.
Oh, don't say that in this car.
He'll say Rossum bots or correct himself or something like that. But no, you're not gonna. If what you're asking about is, are you gonna get in trouble for taking care of all of these robots? Then no, you're going to be okay, I think. So, yeah, I mean, conditional yes. I'm a little. You have to understand. I mean, right now you're working a good angle in that you've got Age is pretty hot at Rossum and Rook and you going after Rook stuff, but you're working at a little bit of a deficit for breaking Rossum out and punching a bunch of Aegis agents. And I know what happened. I know what was going on with them, and I've explained that and everything, but they're still going to be grumpy. So
I will pay that piper when the time comes. For right now, we got to save lives.
Fair enough.
All right, Dad, watch what I have done.
It warms me. It warms my heart to hear those words from your mouth.
Otto, you may indulge yourself. Take as many as you can out.
Okay, so I apologize because I was like working my way through this going, okay, who needs a little bit more time? I got to figure out some way to tie Margie in this. Can't figure out why she's being so quiet. Then I remember she's not actually here, is she? I am the best GM ever. Next, James will fall asleep because of Jesus. I am the literal worst.
I don't think we need a bunch of rules for Leo to like kill bots. Like he's not going to get through all 10,000.
No.
That's all he can do right now. So I think whoever can be active at Two Rivers is going to be a lot more useful.
I mean, there is a, depending on what you guys are doing, I'm going to lay this out here. Depending on what you guys are doing, there's roles, there's not necessarily roles, and there's bad roles that bad moves, painful moves that happen. Getting through bots, barreling through them to get someplace else is one kind of thing. Proving a point, whatever, that kind of deal. Overcoming, doing the unleashed power stick, like overcome a big barrier, that kind of stuff. That's all fine. There's also a scenario in here. I mean, let's put that. If you remember the move for fighting the Vyortovian troops and how horrible that is, there's a very similar move if, and I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if at some point you find yourself, I'm standing atop the Two Rivers decommissioned nuclear power plant and are simply going to stop every robot that's coming, then that's the move that's going to happen.
That's the Age of Ultron Final Showdown move. Yeah.
Yeah. So because there's just a lot of them.
That's not the move I'm after.
No.
And I just posted what I'm going after.
Yeah, you're there to provide a +1 to somebody else who's rolling that move.
No, my goal is actually to go there and get the clone Rossum before he either gets away or gets disappeared.
Sure, and because
I know how those schemes work.
You can certainly end up with fighting Rossum bots in that scenario.
I'm sure. Yeah. But my goal is not. My goal is not to do the big, Ultron bot, in the middle of the chapel combat thing. Except, if that happens, that's great. But that's not her goal of the big scene.
Yeah.
Standing in front of the cell to keep Rossum from being clone Rossum from being broken out by robots or being assassinated by robots.
Yeah. Well, and you might find yourself facing a bunch of them just because of the situation such as it is. But yeah, I'm just laying out there give you guys an idea of the scale. These guys aren't as good as the Vyortovian troops, but there's a lot more of them right handy. So that's really the risk there as far as any of that stuff goes. Any other questions, queries, comments?
Nope.
Okay. So
I
have
to say, I had the thought at one point, if somewhere in all of this I found myself alone with one of these bots in a way that, I could actually get into the technology, I might see if there's something I could do that would either affect other bots to shut them down or infect the network or something. But I don't think there's going to be that sort of an opportunity. But she's keeping an eye open for that sort of a
try
chance.
To find something.
Actually, do you mention an interest in grabbing one for study, or do you just kind of do your own thing?
I'm not interested in, I'm not, it's not so much for study as much as an ad hoc combat tactic. So no, she's not going to mention anything about that.
It's more, it's more of a if the hacking opportunity presents itself sort of a deal.
That's fair. The reason is that I thought it would be hilarious to have Link roll down the window, grapple a bot into the car, and just be tinkering with it when this fight is going on.
With its legs waving out the window.
So if you express an interest in getting one, I got a bunch. But yeah, so let's see what these guys are up to.
That's funny. Okay, so Alicia's already en route. Harry's en route.
Concord's en route.
Concord's in. Yeah, show us dealing. I think if Concord's only flying, I think Alicia probably gets there about the same time as Harry because she had a bit of a head start and never really got all the way to the building really.
Mm-hmm.
He's faster, but she's about there. So there are already some bots there. The big swarm was headed out to the island. Some of them were simply had further to travel, so they didn't when they diverted, they weren't as far out to the island in the first place, so they had already, gotten here. So you've got I need a picture of a good nuclear power plant is what I need.
There are no pictures of good nuclear power.
Okay.
Good, evil, those are all relative terms.
Nuclear power plant. I'm picturing that. Okay, so this'll work all right, I guess. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Well. I want some kind of dome looking. That one? Yeah, we'll grab that one. I think that's pretty good.
Has my tablet come back active now that I'm back within cell phone range of the coast?
Sure. Do you?
I'm just curious if I if I have Parker looking at me or giving color commentary or
yeah, no, the Google Hangouts like little jangly bell is kind of ringing. Whether or not you decide to pick it up, I guess. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay. I'm way too busy. I mean, it's
you?
there's life and death situations going on.
Let it go to voicemail, kind of a thing.
I'll let it go to voicemail.
It's going on its own.
Kind of like this. I mean, imagine there's another, like one of the smokestack kind of looking towers in the background, but these kind of things, and the dome has kind of got bots on it. They're at the entrances and stuff like that, and kind of over there, but they're also kind of like like kind of crawling around on it, trying to find a way in. And they're trying a number of different buildings and facilities. I'm not going to stick with that picture for too long, but to give you a general idea, like they're
I'm not seeing a picture, Joyce.
It's in chat.
The link I put in chat. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, I was just doing the thing. But you've got your big concrete dome kind of deal, and they're kind of trying to crack in there. And honestly, I mean, they're making some headway. There's some doors that are coming down and stuff, but they're on kind of like outbuildings and stuff. So it looks like they're just trying to get in to something somewhere. And proceed from there.
I'm suddenly very sorry that all of the cool Virtovian weaponry on my hover cycle was inconveniently removed before it was given to me.
Well, of course. I mean, I get your point.
No, I understand completely why it was, and in fact, I applaud the gesture, but it would have been much more interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the question is, are they turning to attack as we show up, or are they just monomaniacally trying to get in which case our main goal is to keep them from following us in wherever we go in?
Well, it kind of depends on what you do. They're going to, there's a certain amount of a point at which they will react to your proximity. Funny thing, if you do a search on the internet for maps of nuclear power plants, you don't get maps of nuclear power plants. You get like maps of the country where there are nuclear power plants, but apparently nobody wants to put up the blueprints and schematics of nuclear power plants online. That's crazy.
I know, and if you look at Google Maps, Google Earth, it's all blurred.
Oh wait, floor plans. Oh, I do have one. Oh, this is good. This isn't bad at all. I can work with this. Even looks like it should be in a comic book. Hang on. I got another thing that it's going into chat here in a second. We'll just use the one dome. That's terrifying. There's a lot of stuff to explode in really malfunction horribly in there.
Well, if it was a live nuclear power plant, but we're all sure that it was decommissioned.
Certainly it's not alive. This will be what this is, and weirdly, like in a week, like you guys are going to be brought by a realtor. It's like now this nobody really knows that this was actually a secret villain lair, but just
That's
recently.
right, because we still have our search going on, don't we?
We actually, well, and you guys saw like somebody on the mask list was actually like, hey, have they gone looking for properties yet? Because they want to hear what happens, or they want.
I definitely think we need to add in the abandoned nuclear power plant.
Two Rivers nuclear power plant. Okay, so it kind of depends a little bit on what you do. They're maniacally, or rather in extreme focus, trying to get in, but they're also prepared to deal with resistance and so on and so forth, wherever that resistance is coming from. If it happens to be from without, i.e. you guys, they will respond in kind. And it's a good chance if you go tearing onto the facility grounds, so to speak, they're going to react to that.
So to speak.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna do something. So
they'll have a meltdown. They're gonna react to it.
Harry,
they're gonna lose control.
You guys get there about the same time, but I'm gonna ask Harry what you do first.
Mic off.
I do a
Mic on.
Harry, if you want
the perimeter to like large gaping holes.
Oh, like have they already found their way?
Everyone down.
Are you trying to figure out where to get in, or where
they might have already gotten in?
Hey Harry, if you want to deal with the ones already in the power plant, I have an idea for how to keep more from getting in.
I mean, I didn't quite hear what your answer was, Harry. Are you trying to see where they're getting in? Or are you looking for a way in yourself? Or which are you doing?
A way in.
For yourself. Okay. Why don't you give me a superior roll for assess the situation while you try to figure out what the sitch is here? What the sitch? Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
All my stars and garters.
All right. Oh dear.
Okie dokie. So.
Hey XP.
Hey XP. Take that XP while I look and see what we're doing here. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. How aren't you already carrying a bunch of conditions? You already are, aren't you? 3. That's a fair number. Okay. All right. You actually see while you're what were you gonna say, Dave?
Not me.
Oh, there was a weird. I didn't know who was talking there. So you actually see while you're checking out the perimeter, trying to figure out if there's a way that they get in, way for you guys to get in. That along one building, it looks there's sort of a smoking, gaping hole in the wall of one of the larger central buildings that looks like it goes in and down, and
Good.
you move to pursue, and actually, hang on for a second. I gotta answer a question here. 1 second.
Mic off. 5, mic on.
Okay, sorry about that. So you're kind of moving real quick, and it's like, oh, crack, in you go, and um, uh, think about this. Okay. So as you go tearing kind of into, where's that map at that I pulled up? Get you into the facility here someplace so I can. Oh, that's not right. Where's the link I put it? Oh, there it is. I have to go back and look at the Terminator image here real quick. Okay, so get zoomed in on that. Have you pull up that map of the? I need to save this someplace.
Question: does this count as like a new engagement and everything?
Where you're all engaging the enemy together, or I mean,
Or and adding team to the pool?
no, because not everybody's here yet. Yeah, so our team is a little bit low. I can't. Okay, I gotta save this image because I want to bring it up. So hang on 1 second while I save this to my assets. And I'm going to grab it over here. And my dogs are going to bark in the background because that's what they do. And where did it? Okay. That's unhelpful. Oh, sorry. Saving it in the wrong place. My bad. 1 sec. Good Lord. All right. Man, it's just been a laundry list of crappy technical problems all night. All right. Image slowly loading here so I can ping this thing. All right. So, Harry, you come kind of careening almost into here? Yeah. Kind of into this space here. And sorry guys, I keep getting interrupted. One second.
Mic off. Mic on.
I do know one thing. After this case comes out, Rosa Rook is going to be radioactive.
That is, whew.
She doesn't sweat, she glows.
That's rad. Somebody will accuse the attorneys of fishing for evidence. I'm just waiting for one of you to murder me, so like, go ahead.
No, just keep piling it on.
That was horrible.
Rotten to the core.
Mic off. Mic on.
Hey, you guys haven't been able to hear me.
Not at all.
Oh, I was like, guys, what?
We were just ignoring you, Joyce.
Why do you keep hitting me with these horrible puns? I'm here. I'm literally dying over here. Thank God my daughter walked in and said, "Hey, I can't hear you talking at all, but I'm getting everybody else." My mic muted and then didn't unmute. And I'm so used to not being able to hear myself that when I couldn't hear myself, it seemed normal.
Well, we're glad you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I've been back. Sorry, I was talking. I was like, why is nobody answering what they're doing? Harry. So you guys didn't hear. Okay, you didn't hear anything I said.
We haven't heard anything.
All right, Harry, you come tearing it. You saw where I was pinging the map and stuff like that. Hang on one second. I got to answer my daughter's question. Mike.
Danger now.
Mic off.
Yeah, you run into the room with red signs that say danger.
Waste.
Mic on.
All right, sorry, I'm back. So Harry, as you're coming in through like a crack in the wall, yeah, where the danger thing is at. There's a couple of pillars here. This is explaining why you guys weren't reacting to any of the stuff I was telling you. So there's some devices. You realize as you come piling in here, it's probably a little bit reckless, and you see these devices stuck to the like sort of support pillars on either side of this opening that are blinking in very angry ways. They look like Rossum tech. They almost look like you could pull them off of a Rossum bot and stick them to, and like they detach somehow. They're very, very ugly. Also, next to one of these pillars where the things are at, tied together at the base, not tied to the pillar itself, but tied at the base of the pillar, are two, look like security guards, just regular Rook security guys with like the hats and vests and stuff like that. So your option, which I will fully concede, not much of an option, is use your abilities such as they are to get away from the blast. That's some sort of tripwire or a light sensor or something like that. Trigger these things, or rescue these goobers. Try to rescue these goobers. Quite possibly at risk to yourself. Odds are, no matter what happens, it's going to be a little bit ugly for you. It's probably, it potentially could be very ugly for you. It all kind of depends. What do you do?
Obviously going to get them out of there.
Rescue the Rook goobers? Okay. In that case, roll me a defend, which you should be very happy about because that's usually a pretty good thing for you. Roll me your savior.
I don't have a condition on that.
You don't have a, oh, look at that. Look at that.
Woohoo!
All right. I forgot to do that over there. Okay. So tell me what this looks like. Cause you
Injured by the blow.
let me look at the, I just want to look at the thing here real quick. You're still going to take a bit of the blast because it's part of the terrible 2 that you rolled earlier, but defend, save them, keep them safe and choose one. Add a team to the pool. You can still add a team to the pool, take influence over someone you protect, or clear a condition. It's going to be the clearing the condition will be a bit of a wash because you're going to take a condition from the blast in any case. It's just a question of how bad. Certainly adding team. Well, I don't know. It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. You pick. You get a couple different options you can pick there off of or one thing you can pick off of the thing.
You could influence some security goobers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, I'm not Concord.
Not trying to get influence over every NPC.
Over every villain.
Over every minion NPC. So what do you think? Add team to the pool or clear a condition? Knowing that you're going to take a condition here.
So make it a wash.
Yeah, it's going to be a wash, but you might be able to trade things around a little bit.
I think I'll go for clearing a condition.
What do you want to clear? How does rescuing these guys make you feel? And also tell me, what does this look like with the rescue? You just kind of pick them both up while they're still tied together, untie them in blinding speed, and throw them clear? What's it look like?
Probably the latter.
Like kind of just do the...
So instead of picking up 2 grown guys, it's kind of using velocity to get them...
Kind of a quick spin turn and throw them back out through the building kind of a deal? Is that what you're thinking? Like just kind of...
Yeah.
Okay, just kind of spin them around. All right. So first of all, it's a good use of your powers and you save them, which is cool. So I'm going to take off your hopeless for that.
That was what I was going to do.
Yay. And then the blast takes you and knocks you back into all of those lovely pipes and tanks back kind of behind you and smash you 3 or 4 of the, yeah. And we'll swap over and give you angry.
What I was going to go for.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, that's fun. So yeah, certainly Rossum bots have been through here and they seem to have rather cunningly left the kinds of traps that are good traps to deal with and distract and delay heroes. So that's not super fun. Alicia, what do you do? Oh, you know what? I missed Otto, but I will get there in just a second. I wanted to hear what Otto was going to do with his mighty takedown. Apologize for that, Bill. I'm sorry about that. A few distractions going on here tonight.
So
Harry's whirling, whooshing around through the thing and said, "Hey, I think I figured out when they." Oh crap! And kind of a explosion cloud over on the other side of the facility.
Yeah, I probably need to go over there against my better judgment.
Head towards the explosion. Not really your normal modus operandi.
Well, on the other hand, if he's triggered some traps, then it's probably at least that step is clear.
Cold-blooded.
So I probably see the unconscious security guards who were flung clear through the crack in the wall.
Yep.
The
harsh reality here that you have to acknowledge with some pain in your heart is that you're coming close to the point where you're going to have to get off the bike. As hard as it is to hear.
I'm sorry, I missed the last.
I said the harsh reality that you're going to have to face here is you're coming very close to the point where you have to get off the bike.
I am going to have to get off the bike.
It's pretty.
This is like, why do they always get out of the lions? Because they've got to go down to the little narrow cave. Damn it. Okay. I have to get off the bike.
I appreciate that you like the bike enough to compare it to the Voltron lions. That's cool. Okay, so
you know what? The city can be rebuilt. It's okay.
So you dismount and head for the smoking hole.
At this point, it's probably just as well that it doesn't have its weapon systems. I just start like blowing holes in the wall and following in behind the blood. No.
Yeah.
So I carefully remove the key. It doesn't have a key. And
it's got a proximity circuit for like something that's sewn into your glove or something.
There you go. I step gingerly through the crack from which smoke is pouring.
Right. I'm not going to have you do the whole thing yet because I realize I need to get back over to Otto and Leo. Actually, get them here. But we'll get you into the building there. And you had asked, so Bill, Leo, you had asked Ted for some sort of permission to destroy evidence. And then you told Otto, what was it exactly?
You may indulge yourself.
Okay. So, because I am apparently brain dead tonight, I am going to ask you to tell us what that looks like. Because Otto right now is functionally also Phoenix.
He's essentially the brain of Phoenix right now.
I was going to say he's like 2/3 of Phoenix.
So what I want you to
look like?
I want you guys to imagine that all of the restraint and worries and sensibility that is part of Leo's mind has been taken away, and he's just full on red-blooded. Let's do this. Power through. Nothing can stop me now. That whatever core of him is that has been put into this like 30 to 50 foot long robot bird god. This thing isn't just a jet fighter. It can actually adopt like this sort of bird-like shape. It is literally just going to be plowing through these flying robots without hesitation. It doesn't need any weapons. It doesn't have any. It's literally just knocking them out of the sky with just kinetic force. So wings, talons, limbs, whatever it's got, it's just going to plow through this horde. And it's going to be ultraviolet, and everybody in the car is going to have to be buckled up. And it's still going to be the worst turbulence anyone ever experienced.
In my head, for some reason, and this is just doubly confusing, when you talk about the Phoenix, I keep thinking of like sort of oh God, what were they started with a V, the mecha that like were basically planes to robots. Oh, can't remember now. It's one of the old.
Veritex.
Veritex.
Veritech. Yeah, Robotech stuff.
I keep picturing like a Robotech Concorde. Now that's doubly confusing because we already have a Concorde, but I keep picturing like sort of Veritech styled Concorde, like for the size of this thing. And I don't know if that's even remotely accurate. It's just what I've got in my head.
No, that's entirely accurate. Yeah.
Instantly, if you do a search for Concorde Mecha, you get results that are not helpful. It's a whole bunch of stuff weirdly from Eve, which is doubly queer. But anyway, okay, so he's just like, honestly, I keep thinking of Voltron, like going through all the fighters, and like there's just a little bursts of explosion in the background in the sky, like the little red.
Yeah, that's also entirely accurate.
These are, for the record, more of the, I mean, these were all manufactured by Rook. These were clearly one of the lower end, high manufacturer quantity over quality sets. I mean, no disrespect to them, but I just don't want I've made better. There are better out there. These are. This was your dad kind of protesting the ease with which he is tearing through. Now, there's the problem being that there's tons of them, but you can definitely thin them out. You had, if I'm not mistaken, a +1 dealing with the bots going forward. I'm not going to make.
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I think we can probably carry that over to somebody because of, like, if you want to hand that off to someone. Because as the bots are coming in, you have thinned them sufficiently that it gives them a role going forward, if that's cool, if you want.
If somebody else wants to use that +4, I hereby let you use it.
Yeah.
If not, I would probably use it for that last stand army kind of move. But,
yeah, I mean, I want to put on the table the option for you to hand it off if you so choose because of what you guys just did. So, if that's a thing. Okay, so Concorde, you said to deal with the guys that are already on the ground, I'll deal with the guys that are coming in. What does that look like? What are you doing and all that kind of good stuff?
Concorde was going to take his energy construct powers and basically do that thing where you make like the plow and just sort of circle around the building and dig a trench.
Okay, like a trench in the ground kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is this to attack the guys that are outside the buildings, or to deal with the guys that are coming in, or
to keep the guys who are coming in from basically giving them a harder way to traverse.
Okay.
I think of just as a note, as we've just established with Leo, it being in the air, they can fly.
Yeah, they're all flying to get here.
Oh,
so
they can fly.
They can fly.
That changes everything.
Yeah.
I thought walking. So.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And typically, this is the thing: the Rossum bots up to this point had not evinced. And certainly, as Rook bots, not marketed any ability to fly. That was not on the menu, and they've all been kind of keeping that on the down low as a secret reveal that's come out in this whole bit of shenanigans. So, yeah, I mean, feel free to modify as you see fit for this. What do you or do you want me to like double back and then come back to you in a sec?
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I have a quick suggestion if you're
create the big force field around the building or something like that.
Gigantic dome thing is certainly within bounds for all the ones coming in.
Bill, what was your suggestion?
What'd you have, Bill?
That was pretty much it. But like, if you were already on the way of digging trenches, I thought it would be funny if Concorde was like shoveling dirt out, looked up, saw them flying, was like, wait, I got all this dirt, and just started flinging it into the air as like this whirlwind shield around this place.
I love the idea of him doing this. Like, okay, more bots are coming. Hang on, guys, I got this. And he builds this big trench. He goes, all right, and he looks up. It's like, oh, they fly. Oh, okay. I mean, I actually kind of like that he did that first and then realized what the deal was. Because yeah, when all the flying and stuff was happening, you guys were in Silverstreak's head. You wouldn't necessarily have seen any of that. Yeah, figure out what you like best about which idea you like best, and I'm gonna jump to Alicia for here for just a second. Okay, so the bots laid a trap for anybody coming in. It worked somewhat well on Harry. But that tells you two things. One, they were expecting you to come after them, and two, there's already bots inside the facility. So, what do you do?
Is Mercury within
shouting
within sight as I step through? I obviously have weapons out.
There's a Mercury-shaped there's a Mercury-shaped trench through some of the nearby equipment and stuff like that. Probably.
Okay. I'll assume he's okay. I will. I will proceed towards the center of the building with the idea that that's probably most likely where things are. Keeping my eyes open for traps and/or robots.
Okay.
If that's kind of an assess, or if that's a.
I think. I think it's probably overcome, because you're kind of traversing and trying to get through barriers and get where they're going to go. And also, logically, wherever they're keeping him is probably underground.
Yeah.
So you want to be going in and down.
Well, and I'm definitely kind of keeping an eye open for, doors that have been torn off of hinges, anything that shows signs of violent entry, down to security, more down to security guards.
Yeah, sounds a fight, that kind of thing. Figuring out where to navigate, I think, is not really that difficult, but the fact that there may be guys in the way and things in the way and bots in the way and traps in the way is, I think, probably an overcome. So I'm going to have you roll your freak.
I just want to mention, if it becomes necessary, Waters can probably ask Rook in the cars, like, what kind of traps would you lay? And use that sort of shared experience to make suggestions or provide advice ahead of time.
Yeah, certainly a way to spend team for you guys if that comes up. And
okay, so I need to pull it back up. I reloaded the page.
Yes.
Come on, go. And I don't like freak. Am I still carrying a +1 forward?
You can use it if you want to. You have a plus. You haven't used that yet, so you have a +1. Although it doesn't do. I mean, the +1 forward just goes on to the next roll, and this applies to that first question that you ask in the assess. So yeah, it would apply, although it doesn't do much for you getting it from a 7 to an 8. But
because I had it up. Okay.
Yeah. So got you from a 7 to an 8, and the unleash your powers. I'm thinking it was overcome an obstacle. On a hit, you do on 7 to 9, mark a condition, or the GM will tell you how the effect is unstable or temporary. So you're making progress. Unstable or temporary in this case would be you run into setbacks or something like that. Condition might be you're not getting through here scot-free on counterattacks, booby traps, that kind of thing. I think, or maybe just the stress of the situation or something. It might be something as simple as that, but I like the idea of it not being quite perfect. You're dealing with the minions of a super genius, so the odds of one of their a double blind booby trap kind of a thing catching you on the third layer of it, certainly not out of the question.
I'm seeing that as probably an angry.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So you are basically, and you probably actually pass Harry. And Harry, you can certainly be pushing yourself up as she's going through her. But the idea here is like they're already going down. Wherever they go, it's once they've got Rossum2, whatever that looks like, it's going to get pretty ugly. But the need for speed is definitely here because what you want to keep them from actually getting to him in the first place. Plus reinforcements are coming, so you're kind of almost parkouring through this thing.
Yeah,
over rails, down off
over
of
rails, sliding underneath the tripwires.
Yeah, and there's at least a couple of points where it's honestly easier to just trip the damn thing and be not where it's meant to.
Right. Trip the damn thing, diving forward at full speed so that
I'm just not where the explosion was, kind of thing, and you use the blast to propel myself through another, underneath another railing and that sort of thing. And the part where you're kind of cursing about this is the double, like I say, the double blind trap, where it's like you see the trap, you realize that trap is a distraction for the other trap, so you trigger the second to destroy the first, and realize that leaves you directly in the position of the third one that apparently anticipated you would do that.
Right.
And you're able, the blast kind of knocks you back against the wall, and it's like over a railing actually, it's one of those really painful stunts that I see in, every so often, where they fly back and they only catch the rail with their legs, so they flip really hard as they go over. And you're kind of going down, catch yourself on a rail, and it hurts. The body armor's okay. It hurts, but what really gets you is like, not so much that you got, but like this trap was laid by a freaking minion robot.
Yes.
Damn it. And
I'm smarter than robots. Damn it.
I'm just going to keep laying that putting bricks into that particular wall, and wait for the whole thing to come tumbling down on somebody. Harry, you're kind of, you kind of pushed yourself in from the various sounds of, and not all the stuff has been explosions. It's been like stuff that's been, primed to collapse, tip over, unstable scaffolding or not scaffolding, but like catwalks and stuff like that have been weakened to the point where they're going to collapse, things like that. So you can kind of hear, Alicia's moving fast, not in any kind of stealthy fashion. So you can kind of hear where she's going if you pursue, and immediately she sort of cleared the area a little bit. So you're still, it's kind of a elevator shaft with like sort of an access catwalk around it that you find yourself, kind of tumble down and caught yourself back, but you're getting down far enough into like sort of a sub, I don't want to say basement because it's bigger than that, but some sort of substructure in here that you can hear exchange of weapons fire, that kind of stuff, Alicia, and actually probably Harry too. Are you pursuing Harry, staying with her, that kind of thing? You may be muted.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Alicia, you can kind of pull yourself back up over that railing and continue on down. But clearly they were anticipating some kind of pursuit because they've been laying a hell of a lot of delays in the way.
She turns around to Mercury, holds up one finger, and says, "Not one word."
Okay. Concord, you're seeing them approach, and now what are you doing?
We're just gonna
gigantic energy construct mecha big enough to encompass the entire facility with you in the no. Anyway.
I think we're gonna do the big energy barrier to stop them from getting in.
Okay. Is that one of your flares?
It is.
Moat.
So I need to burn.
You need to burn your burn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, burn your burn. What do you have to roll for that? Is it just conditions? It's just conditions.
Conditions.
Right? What? If it weren't for Harry's too, I would be very grumpy about the dice results we've been getting tonight. Holy sweet crap. You got 3 conditions right now?
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. So that is a palpable hit. The burn what does that give you? It gives you 3 burn and there's no real downside at that point?
Now when I roll a 10 plus.
Now you roll a 10 plus. Okay. So burn assembled. And
Yep.
what's the description of moat?
So for the barrier, let's see, spend 1 burn to create a barrier that'll hold back threats as long as you keep attention on it. GM may call for you to spend another burn if the barrier is threatened by particularly powerful enemies.
Okay. Which one? Is that the barrier of, that's the barrier of courage?
Uh-huh.
Yikes.
And if there are... I don't know, is there like robots outside of the building too? Like,
well, there's it's more of a facility. It's like a, I mean, this barrier is going to be pretty, well, it doesn't, I guess, have to encompass the whole thing, but it's either going to be big enough to kind of cover the main, like all the outbuildings and stuff, which puts some of the robots on the inside, obviously, or you fly inside of like the main, well, I don't, the probably, tactically speaking, the thing that you would do would be to keep that massive wave of reinforcements coming from reinforcing. That does unfortunately leave probably 2 or 3 dozen bots that were inside already that could come after you. That doesn't solve that problem.
oh no, I have plans for them.
You have plans for them? Can you do those plans? What's the deal?
Yes, I can.
Hold back threats as long as you keep your attention on it. How do you solve that problem and still keep your attention on the barrier?
So I have this flare that I called split focus.
I
Spend
see.
1 beer to create any object with your powers up to the size of a person. Spend an additional burn to animate it independently of yourself.
The construct dissolves at the end of the scene. Okay, so that's 2 burn for that, and a burn for the barrier.
Uh-huh.
So you probably put up the construct first and then throw up the barrier. And
Well,
what do you,
second Concord.
second Concord and then go get those guys? Is it go get those guys or defend me?
I think that's like almost the exact same thing. Is like if there's, if Concord's up here, like, something is like shooting, like, the robots are down on the ground, like shooting at him or flying up in order to like, harass him.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, it's sort of different roles. Like you have the thing go after the bots, and you're going to go directly engage those guys, which is risky, but continually reduces threat. Defend, they're kind of staying close to home, but there's a little bit less chance of things going completely south. Kind of.
I got that. Go get those guys.
Go get them. And then you throw the barrier up. Okay, I like that. That's fine. I like. What does it look like? I mean, do you just does it like sort of paint itself in front of you, or do you kind of just stand still for a second and like the after image of you kind of floats away from you and then like gets thicker, or what does that look like?
Yeah, just like there's 1 Concord, and then it's that sort of thing where one of them like moves away from the other, and then there are 2 Concords. And it's just like, I got this, you go down there. Okay.
It's almost like that doubling vision where you kind of like stare at something and kind of cross your eyes to make it 2 of them kind of thing. Is it that kind of a separation? I don't know. Maybe that's just something I do. I guess you're not really crossing your eyes. Anyway, all right. So barrier up. The downside to this is going to be that if the mass of guys does get thick enough to need another burn, you don't have another burn. Which will get it really, you bought yourself some time because eventually there will be enough guys to bring the barrier down because there's a lot of them. Although it'll take a little bit longer than it did before. Leo, what's your priority here? Do you want to take out a bunch of these guys, or you don't want to beat them to where they're going?
Basically beat them to where they're going, but taking the battle on the way
yeah,
is
take them
good.
out. Ultimately, you're going to get there, 30 seconds before they get there. I mean, because you're still engaging them, unless you. I mean, do you break off enough to give yourself a couple of minutes, or you do break off enough to give yourself like 30 seconds to shout instructions and stuff?
A couple of minutes is probably good.
Okay. All right. So this gives me an idea of how many guys you have dealing with. All right. So if it's a couple minutes, you could probably be inside the barrier when Concord puts it up. Certainly if you shout and say, hey, we're almost there, kind of a thing. If you're going to get there a couple minutes before him, because he's doing this like relatively quickly before.
Could still open a hole in it, probably.
Yeah, it's friendly, so that kind of thing. In any case, it's gonna be quite soon around when the barrier goes up. We'll just have you guys coming down and Concord kind of putting. You see the Concord 2 go shooting off and racing, flying off towards the buildings, and you're kind of bringing it down an open spot there, and then the big barrier goes up. As you guys as Phoenix is coming down.
And also, we can basically undock from Phoenix and just have Otto and us come down, and it just stays in the air to fight them back.
Okay. If it's I mean, it's like, would it want to do that? Of course it would. It's animal version of Leo. Of course it's going to want to fight them back. Or you could. Yeah, it hasn't met Concord yet. All right. Yeah, I mean, it honestly could just drop you off and then go fly back to start fighting more of them.
I'll do that.
Are we? This is Otto. Are we sure we want to just let it go punch stuff? I mean, do you want me to stay with it? I'm not sure if it'll know when to stop, boss.
It won't hurt anyone that is afraid of it. We know that much.
No. I'm not talking about that, but I don't know if it's going to know when to stop when it's going to be bad for it to keep going. I mean, I offer you as evidence of this potential problem.
Well, I don't want you to get hurt either with that, with up there with it.
Yeah, but I'll be with it. I can get it out of there before it gets to that point.
Okay, well, if you think it's a good idea, I trust you, man.
I don't know. I don't want the kid out there on its lonesome just yet.
Okay, then yeah, we'll do that.
So he'll kind of it's more of a flyby drop off kind of a thing. Kind of comes down. It's the touch and go landing, where it pauses for just a second to kind of let you guys get on. You bringing Rossum with you? Bringing Waters with you?
My assumption is that Waters is watching Rossum full time
Yes.
to make sure that he's not filching something from his pocket or getting something out or anything like that. So yeah.
And back about like 3 meters at any given time, with a weapon out. Yeah, because there's just no good there.
And just as a note for the GM's brain to be cogitating,
yes,
Charlotte is aboard that whole vehicle as well.
Too. I need something for her to have done so it makes sense for her to not. Or
I would love it, in fact, if she has basically kind of is tag teaming with Waters on surveillance, just making sure that he doesn't drink anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, of all the people that Rossum's not really going to have an immediate like laundry list of moves for, it's going to be Charlotte.
Yeah, I like Waters, but I don't see Waters being a match for Rossum, just kind of without anybody else watching. But yeah, with Charlotte there, that makes...
Yeah, it makes it so much harder. Because, yeah, what do you do when you're... Yeah. I mean, give him time. He'll figure something out. But yeah, between those two, so he's just kind of standing there, and I'd really be. This is you hear Waters as you're kind of walking out. I'd really be a lot more comfortable if your hands were a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. Make me comfortable, please. And Charlotte, I just appreciate how polite you are when you're doing this, Agent Waters. Leo, what do you do? Where do you go?
There you go. Well, if I see Concord and I see the barrier, I'll just ask Adam real quick. Are you good out here?
And I was muted. Adam probably like looks down at himself fighting robots down there. He's like, I think I'm okay.
All right, I'm heading in. I'm gonna rush in.
What? So, Concord, I'm actually gonna have you roll it directly engaged for your little guy. I want to see what that looks like. Because there are quite a few bots down there. There's not enough to need the horrible roll, but there are certainly a lot of bots down there. So what does that look like? All these things up on the screen.
Let's see.
Burn. Kapow.
I don't feel 100% comfortable yet, so I am committing myself to protecting this facility.
What does that mean?
When you commit yourself to save somebody or defeat a terrible enemy, mark a condition and take +1 ongoing to all die rolls directly pursuant to that goal.
Okay. Which one? Which move is that? I'm just curious.
Burning with honor.
Burning with honor. Oh, I closed it and it was open. Oh, that's right. It's one of the leftovers from Janus. Cool. Mark a condition.
Yeah.
You and Harry have a race to the floor right now. All right. So take a. So what condition are you marking?
Hopeless.
Hope. This is okay. And we take our thing and we go over here and we do our directly engage and we manage it. Oh, very nice.
All right.
I appreciate that. That gets you up to a 10.
So we are going to resist their blows. As second Concord is just sort of flying through, blasting away.
Sure.
And then I think we're going to create an opportunity for Leo.
I love it. So he doesn't actually even have to roll to get through these guys. He can just like, does it kind of turn at one point and kind of give a little bow and like after you kind of thing towards one of the, towards.
No, it's probably just like, as soon as Leo hits the ground, there's probably that one little scene of the robot like coming up behind him and it's just like, psh,
yeah, blast.
I got this.
I love the extra. So create an opportunity for as the Leo goes slipping on in there.
Hey, are we ready to enter battle against a dangerous foe?
Yes, I think we are. I think this is exactly the right time for that. So, when you enter battle against a dangerous foe as a team, add 2 to the team pool. If the leader has influence over every teammate, add another team. Leo has influence over every teammate. Because that's
am I acting as leader now? Is that kind of how people feel?
I think. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? It feels like your deal, like your.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that's
I think so. I mean, certainly if he's identifying himself as, if he's communicating out to us as leader, then
yeah.
God damn you, Jason.
Yeah, and if the the leader having influence over every teammate is basically Leo's resting state. So add 1 to the team, so that's 3. If everyone has the same purpose in the fight, add another team. I think we might not get this one because some of you guys are going after Rossum, some of you guys are stopping the robot. I feel like the efforts are disparate enough that it's a little bit like you're not all like just the various fingers of a clenched fist all striking at the same thing. But
getting to Rossum will stop the robot.
I know, I get that. I'm not saying it's, I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll leave it up to you.
I think we're here for the same motives, even if we're not here for the same doing the
Yeah,
same
if you're not
thing.
doing the same thing, that's true.
The
idea
overall
is
strategy
stop-
is the same.
yeah,
the
stop-
tactics may be different.
Stop the bots, stop Rossum, stop the bots by stopping Rossum. If any of the team members mistrust the leader or the team, remove a team. Alicia, let's just go straight to the heart of that particular question. Do you mistrust the team or the leader of the team? You're the only one who's honestly very likely to say no at this point. Or yes at this point, I should say.
No, actually.
Actually,
okay. I'm just starting with Alicia. I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
I will say that I am trusting the team because thus far the team has been trustworthy. It's kind of a trust but verify kind of a thing. But yeah, I will say that Alicia trusts the team at the moment.
And the leader of the team. And the leader of the team?
And the leader of the team.
All right. Concord, what about you?
Don't trust Alicia.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's a good point, though. That is an excellent point. Doesn't quite trust Alicia yet. Okay, so I don't even need to go to Harry, so I won't worry about it. But I'm going to ask anyway. Harry, are you trusting the team right now? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm trusting.
You're trusting the team. Concord, not so much. That's fine. Growing up so fast, he's learning not to trust. I'm so proud. If any member mistrusts the leader or the team, remove a team. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 3. If your team is ill-prepared or off-balance, remove a team. No, you guys are fine. So that's 3 in the pool. I believe that's 3 in the pool. So we will deal 3 more to the pool. And get that done. Lovely. And you probably didn't come into the same location as those other guys, Leo. So you're probably kind of coming in over in this sort of area, but still same basic logic. Get in, get down, fast as you can.
I'll call over comms to ask for directions, like where do you want me to be?
Follow the explosions.
And you can catch what she's talking about. Not
You
so
hear an
much
explosion in the background.
Not so much follow the explosions. I don't hear any. All right. Outside Concord, the bots are definitely coming, and they're just sort of like in much the same way that you saw them kind of crawling over the outside of the buildings when you first got here. They're doing the same thing kind of over the dome of your barrier, trying to pressure a way in, kind of push a way in. They're beating on it. Some of them are blasting it. Just methodical about it. It's ant-like, honestly.
Can I try to well up some more power to help push them back?
The answer to your question is yes, but I think that burn is, you're not anywhere near having it pop yet, but you can see, you don't need to do a lot of math to go, okay, eventually they're going to bring this thing down. I think to burn, you would have to drop the barrier. I think just the way they describe it and the concentration that's required to burn and build up that energy. Now, that's not a no, because you can immediately switch to some kind of like kablam kind of maneuver. So I don't think by dropping the barrier, you're immediately going to get plastered by a bunch of guys that are just going to all fall on you. I think the switch is immediate enough that you'd be able to do something, but I don't think the barrier would still be a barrier. It would be not there after that. You'd have to reestablish it or something. Does that seem fair?
I kind of always thought like the welling up power was just sort of a nebulous thing, so it's less of like not not having my attention on it and more of just like.
See, I guess,
Can I give you some alternate fiction, Joyce, that might let him?
Sure.
So, Mike, you've said in the past that Concord's power is basically emotionally driven, right? He's literally said things like "courage is my weapons" and so forth. Right now, we have an entire city of people who remember us, or part of us plus other people, saving the city during Christmas. There's a bunch of smartphones pointed at the sky, taking pictures of what's going on. Do their positive feelings accrue to that, to a benefit to your power in any way? Is that even a thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, if this is something that would be like, Concord being like, seeing that he's like this courageous figure definitely would help him psychologically, which would then fuel into those powers. Yeah,
I the only reason I think it would like they're sort of exclusive is because the barrier is kind of like it says you need to concentrate for the burn to me, and again, if this is not how you see it, I'm fine with that. It's not quite a Dragon Ball Z power up, but it is kind of that flex and glow and like kind of thing because you're a Nova.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? Like it would be kind of like I don't think that there's a moment where they like get an opening, but I think if you blast them, the barrier's down. Does that make sense? I think that maybe makes more sense.
Like, I was about to say, it's less trying to blast them and more of just trying to well up more energy into the reserve.
I think it makes sense that certainly in this case that you could burn and keep the barrier up. If that's the thing. So, yeah, go ahead. Certainly you've got enough conditions to get a good roll out of it, hopefully.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, that's solid. All right. So, yeah. And we can, I love the narrative of, your friends need you. The city's counting on you. The city sees you as a hero. The city's full of hope. They're coming. Don't worry. The menagerie will get, take care of it. That kind of thing. All right. Leo. Oh boy, it's not going to be a great. Well, not playing straight to the thing. All right, so I'm going to have you, because you're kind of behind a little bit, and I want to catch things up. I'm going to have you do a unleash your powers to navigate through all this nonsense and kind of. But you got two people here who can kind of help. So.
Okay. Are the Rossum bots part of this unleash?
Yes.
In that case, I'll take the +1 at this time.
All right. That sounds great. Which you'll...
Yeah, I could use the help of those two people then.
Okay, so you want to watch out for tripwires, and sometimes there's like they're placed where you would that thing where you're going down a step and you say, oh look, that step's broken, I'll go to the next step. Yeah, that one's broken too.
And
so,
the next, and then the one that you would hop
and then the one after that is the real trap. Yeah.
I have a special request for the other team point.
Mm-hmm.
It can be spent by any NPC, right?
What's that?
It can be spent by any NPC, right?
Sure.
I want to hear this quiet voice come over the comms. It's like, son, watch out for the green glowing things.
That's fine. And yeah, there's a point where Alicia's like, you're heading down. It's like, okay, when you get down to the second level, avoid stairwell A. And you're like, right. And you pull your foot back and turn away from stairwell A. That is
I was going to say, Leo looks up and there's a giant A painted on the wall next to him.
That is a non-negotiable route.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
The reason I said that, though, was that Rossum has been pitched, like, for all his faults as somebody who genuinely did care about his kid.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
While it's a help, it's also somewhat disconcerting that he's somehow on comms.
Well, Charlotte's right there.
Oh. Would you mind I'll put my hands behind my head. Would you just lean in enough so you'd pick up my voice when I talk somewhere near your ear? Charlotte's polite enough. She'd probably go with that.
I put it on two team to steal them, but they're kind of sitting there right now. So.
Okay.
I just want there to be like that one little panel or scene where it's just like Leo running through and it's just like, is there is there a good path down on level 3? And just Harry and Alicia both being like, no, and Link just being like, fine, and punches through the floor.
Yeah, blows a hole through the floor. Yeah.
Because that's just a bull move right there.
Yeah, it really is.
I've had that move for 34 sessions. Never rolled.
What move?
When you unleash your powers to barrel through an insurmountable barrier, roll danger instead of freak.
Oh, it's so funny. Would it have changed anything if you did?
It would have made that roll worse because danger is 0 and freak is 1 right now.
So you wouldn't have done it. You've had that move and you still haven't done it. That is a great bull move too. Okay, so with the roll the way it is for the unleash, it's the same kind of thing as sort of as Alicia, taking a condition from dealing with all this nonsense, or unstable unstable in some way.
I think you could assume I'm marking angry.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's hardly even a downside for you at this point. Oh no, the bull marked angry. Whatever will he do?
You see, I don't have that move that gives me the +1 ongoing when I'm angry. I should have taken that move.
Because honestly, you always have angry. I mean, not always, but you often have angry. Certainly early on, and now today. Okay, so.
Right. Now Dad is telling me how to be safe.
Okay, so actually, I've got that. Well, I'm not gonna. Well, let me see. Actually, I may have that picture up still. It's not gonna be perfect, but it might be. I think I had.
That's fair. So Leo could probably make good time through here with grappling hook assisted parkour.
Oh yeah.
So we should be able to catch it.
Mostly, yeah. Catching them's not really the problem. They're not actually going anywhere. I don't have the right picture up, and I'm not going to try and fight it right now. So what you have down here is sort of a very big brutalist style space that's been retasked as sort of a factory is not the right word. Prototyping factory / lab. Okay.
So like a giant James Bond set.
Yes. Yeah, and I
with
was actually
floating staircases.
I was actually looking for the James. I had a kind of a James Bondy picture up here as one of the sets up here at the top, but I don't have that I must have taken that one down somewhere at some point, so I don't have that one up, and I'm not going to try and find it right now. And you've got so yeah, along one of the back walls, you've got like offices kind of set into the wall on, with like exterior ledges aren't right, walkways, also in concrete with railings and stuff, and like glass fronted offices that face out into this big space, or cells, or storage units, whatever, looking out into the space. And kind of up against that wall, and scattered throughout the space, you can see the signs of the fight between Rook security guys and the Rossum bots, and they've taken out a few, but there's a solid kind of vanguard, I guess, around Rossum2, kind of up against this back wall, and they're not going anywhere. They're not like merging into a gigantic Rossum tunneling machine or anything like that. They're waiting. And there is a certain, if there's enough of them, and if he just waits long enough, there's going to be enough of these guys that they're just going to overwhelm who's over here. So they're kind of just in a defensive thing, like, you come and I'm going to bite your hand, but if you leave us alone, there's going to be a lot more dogs in this fight real soon.
I'm sorry. So they're
kind of. I'm going to have to.
Clone Rossum is surrounded by Rossum bots.
A bunch of Rossum bots, and they're on the far side of this big space, kind of turtled up. Tactically speaking, they're probably waiting for reinforcements. They're not trying. You guys aren't giving them any easy shots or anything like that, so they're not. But it's also kind of like this open space of, with like there's lab tables and some prototyping equipment and stuff like that there, but there isn't a heck of a lot of cover between here and there. So they've kind of got, it's an ugly situation. We're trying to get to those guys, and they're just the idea here apparently is that they're like Rossum's kind of back in one of those rooms a little bit, and they're got the whole front of this in front of that space blocked off and defended, and they're just going to turtle up until they get reinforcements. At least that's the idea.
And did you say there were any of the
Rook
guards?
The Rook guys
are they all down?
No, the Rook guys are all down.
Okay.
I mean, they're
everybody's looking at us.
Yeah.
This is a multi-level environment, and they're on the second levels. Is that what I heard correctly?
They're yeah. He's like up on a. He's think of. I'm not gonna be able to find. But yeah, so like the back wall is like a big concrete thing. It's about I want to say about 3 stories tall, and all along there's like. The concrete. I'm thinking of like almost like a hotel breezeway kind of a walkway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. But if there's only a few that are blocking like a direct path to him, do I think that I have, or could I line up a line of sight to knock a couple aside and grapple him and pull him back to me?
He's in like well, I mean. It depends on what the material's made of, but he's in a room that faces out into this big space. So these little walkways, the walkways that they're all like, room, and then the front of this space has been cut into the concrete or whatever has got like a glass wall to like look out into the big space. He's in one of those. With them kind of in front of it
on the outside
in an array, like some of them are up on the third, some are up on the third level, most of them are on the second, there's some on the floor, but they're all kind of like, bristling defensive mode kind of a thing.
Yeah, but all I have to do is punch a Rossum shaped and sized hole in them, and then I can get him out of there. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, assuming you can get through if the glass is really glass thing is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's the only thing. He's not like standing in the doorway or anything like that. He's back there, and he may be up to no good. He could be up to shenanigans back in there. It's kind of hard to see because there's so many guys in the way. But yeah, that's kind of the deal. I'm gonna say Leo. What do you? Well, yeah, Leo. Well, Leo, you get down there. Harry's down there. I'm gonna actually ask Harry what you're doing, or going to do, or want to do. Because I think it's been a bit before you've done a thing. So even if it's just to like create an opening for somebody else or something, I don't know. What do you think?
I think at this point, getting in there, if I can create an opening for someone.
So yeah, you kind of get some guys off the catwalks and stuff like that. Just kind of like, speed through knock them to the side, I mean, the space that needs to be crossed to get to these guys is really nothing to you. Where it is tactically challenging to do it without risk, or as much risk and stuff for Alicia certainly, and Link as well. It's a little bit more dodgy.
Are you saying here, Mercury doing the, get up to that second floor, swoosh past at high speed, knocking all of the bots down, aside, over the railing, carrying them away in your slipstream, that sort of thing?
That the idea?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, he says somewhat tentatively. All right, I'm going to ask you to less tentative.
Like 3 tries for my mic to read it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that mic has been very dodgy for you. That stinks. All right, I am going to ask you to less tentatively roll. Directly engage.
Sounds like a directly engage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kick.
Okay. So
That sounds like something you could use some help.
I'm actually happy to chip in because Leo's, if Alicia is here or close, Leo.
We're all basically we've all arrived here at the bottom of the stairway.
Perfect.
Well, Alicia,
panting heavily.
Alicia and Harry probably there a little bit earlier, but I like the idea of Alicia and Harry kind of clearing an opening for Leo.
I'm cool with that.
That's pretty cool.
I'm willing to.
What is this? What does that look like for Alicia in this?
I'd probably use one of those red taped clips with the armor piercing shells, and I will tag anybody in the right area that Harry hasn't knocked over, or if he manages to actually clear the space, I will see what sort of glass that's made out of.
I mean, and not for nothing, you're a good 50 yards away from these guys, and that is not for anybody easy shots with handguns.
Of course not.
That is, I mean, you'd almost have better luck hitting somebody by throwing the freaking things from that range, because you're literally shooting and aiming at a space approximately the height of the robot itself above the robot to deal with the drop. And you're still like forehead tagging them as you go, just doosh, doosh, doosh. Harry's coming through, blasting them. There's a lot of that. I think it's very funny that so many times that speedsters are portrayed, it's usually in slow motion. It's like completely the opposite of, so there's a lot of those slow motion shots of him like knocking them to the side, them spinning, simply from the blast through and stuff like that. It isn't so much that you're covering him. You're probably not. You're covering.
Well, I'm not covering him.
You're taking down. You're taking down.
I'm
yeah,
cleaning them up.
You're taking down the folks that don't get taken down by him. So directly engage a threat, roll danger on a hit, trade blows on a 10 plus pick 2, on a 7-9 pick 1. So Harry, create an opportunity for your allies. Is that your pick off the list? Is that what you're aiming for? Okay, so you are trading blows though, so that will be another condition. So you can kind of pick either one of those, honestly. There's just an awful lot of them, and actually I've got a as you're passing through, because you're really trying to clear a space in front of that office where Rossum is at, and one of the bots that you knock aside was not in combat mode but was in booby trap mode, and you don't really realize it until you're coming through there, and it's not an explosion, it's like a magnesium flare, and leaves you kind of blinded, and moving at the speeds that you're at, being blinded is not super great. So you kind of you feel yourself more than see yourself go over a rail and kind of scramble and skid, bounce off some other stuff. There's this constant feeling of they keep second guessing you on what you're going to try and do, and all that other stuff. But opening created, Leo, there's definitely, I mean, he's not. If I say, okay, so I'm going to ask you, that'll dictate my narration a little bit. Do you have enough of an opening if the bots aren't there, but the glass is still in the way and you've got to get into the office, or does it make more sense for creating an opening for you for the glass to have shattered?
Honestly, I like the glass being shattered, but if that hadn't happened, I have a backup plan.
I think it's a cool narrative to just have Harry go by so bloody fast that it just spiderwebs the stuff. I
really like that too. Yeah,
I think that's really really cool. So Yeah, I like that a lot. So he just kind of hits like sort of just for a second, he breaks the sound barrier right in front of the office. Which is no fun for anybody in a concrete bunker. Everyone's ears are kind of ringing, but the glass is down. But unfortunately, there's also that big weird magnesium flash. It's kind of weird for a second, or hard for a second even to figure out what really happened because of the big flash combined with the thing. Was it a trap? Was it him? And Harry's kind of like tumbling, cartwheeling off of that walkway, off to the side at the same time because of not being able to see where he's at. Leo, what do you do?
I think I'm going to grapple my ass in through the broken window.
Okay. So you're going to like
basically, like if I can get like I said, if I can get a clear line on Rossum with that window gone, first and foremost, I'm going to grab him and go. If that's not possible, if there's bots like literally standing in the way, I will basically yank them backwards with the grapples and basically throw them over the railing, and they can go to the first floor.
Okay. I think that's still directly engaged because you're legitimately trying to take something from them. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and
there's certainly some physical risk for you.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I'm just going in like I usually do, and hence moving Savior down and Danger up.
Okay. Yeah, as you go in without hedging your bets, kind of thing.
Yep.
I mean, you may say I've never been able to use this one move, and I've had this other move, and I've never gotten to use it, and I've had this other one that would have been perfect. I didn't have. But this one,
I'm totally fine with this.
This one you use all the time, so that's okay. All right. So, which one goes down? Just out of curiosity.
I'm sorry. Savior is down to -2 and Danger's up to 1.
All right. Okay, I gotta get this out here and kill that. That was the team that blah blah blah. That sorry, Alicia used to help Harry, and Leo rolls a 7. So. Okay. So are you grabbing Rossum2 and yanking him out of there, or
if that's on the table, yeah, I'll take it. He's priority 1. Whatever gets to him, I'll do.
Take something from them is one of the options. It's obviously going to you leaving because you're prioritizing that above all other things. It's going to leave you open to some other stuff. Okay, so you so the flash goes off, the kind of blast goes off, and you kind of step out where you can, take that grab. The bots on the 3rd floor and down the ground ones are kind of grounded, but the ones that were up on like the 3rd level were kind of shielded from most of what Harry was doing, and certainly the sonic blast because this concrete floor between him and them. So they're firing your direction, but that's. It's nothing at this range. It's really doing much to your armor. You fire off the bolts or the grapples and grab Rossum, like clamp onto Rossum like around the shoulders or something like that, and just it's almost comical sound. Were you close enough to hear it? Where he's kind of like kind of a yank out of the thing, and it's not clean because he kind of goes over goes past the railing rather, and at about knee height, and that certainly hurts. He comes whizzing across the room, kind of drag. It's far enough he'd have to kind of drag a little bit and just kind of be as he's being reeled in. Yeah, is that accurate?
Accurate. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
If I'm going to take a hit here, I'd like to propose Insecure. This is the moment Leo's been training for as a superhero to take down his dad if necessary, and now he's like, well, shit, I'm really doing it.
I don't know if this helps or hurts or changes your answer, but the actual hit that you take from this is the fact that when Rossum gets reeled up as he's coming up to you, like sort of super tases you with this little gizmo that he managed to cobble together while he was in the thing there.
Okay.
And you tell me, what is the effect of like a high voltage taser, hit on the armor? Assuming it doesn't completely get absorbed, because it doesn't completely get absorbed. Is it more of an effect on the armor or more of an effect on Leo?
I'm going to say not a physical effect on Leo. The armor is definitely designed to absorb this material, or absorb like electrical shocks based on the material it's made out of. The graphene sheets that are part of the armor layers that I've written probably far too much about in the past are literally like the most energy efficient batteries that mankind has been able to think of so far, like in the real world.
Right.
And that they ought to be able to soak at least enough of that so that Leo would survive probably any conceivable charge from a device like this.
So is the real blow to him the fact that face to face, this guy's face is just mad with like, I want to say like just psychopathic, like wide-eyed rage? Like
I think so. I mean, what I was trying to get at was, like the biggest danger to Leo here is the emotional danger.
Yeah,
and he's feeling like, I'm 17. I'm not ready for this. I shouldn't be doing this. It took all of Aegis to take this guy down last time. What am I doing?
And it's really kind of almost a flashback thing to some of your worst situations here, because it's honestly, there's a part of you probably somewhere that wonders if this isn't intentional. It actually is worse because of the fact that your dad was just helping. So he gives you this little thing. So you look out through the green one and say, hey, my dad's helping a little bit with it. And then you're getting the exact polar opposite version of Rossum's behavior with this mad, torturing, like, he's not just attacking. He's also relishing the idea that what he's hitting somebody with is going to make them suffer. That kind of I'm sure you could probably find a picture of the actor in question looking like that. It wouldn't even really be very hard. But coming close on the heels from helpful Rossum makes it even worse.
Yeah, but he always was kind of like that anyway. So this is but those memories are the worst. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of driving it home. It's like, oh, maybe things are better. No. This is just a nice little reminder that Dad's like this. Okay, so you've got him, and the blast, though, in and of itself does not do anything. What we see, though, is a shot of through the face plate or whatever is Leo's kind of horrified look at at this guy's expression itself. The bot stopped firing, though, once Rossum's kind of in the line of fire. So there is at least that. What do you do?
Team, we are out of here. We are going to make a hasty exit from this place because this place has been booby-trapped to hell and gone.
Yeah.
This is just not a safe place to be.
No. And it's been, like, haphazardly booby-trapped in short order.
I will lay down whatever
as your
rear covering fire is needed as we're pulling out of
Harry's
here.
pushing himself, is like, another maneuver on that. Concord.
Got a grip, Gale.
Yes.
The bots have reached the point where they are starting to. Okay, this is gonna take you back. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, where the Nova Corps had that net of spaceships that was trying to stop Ronan from landing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. That's about the density level that these things have. Actually, it's a little bit heavier than that. They've achieved on the outer barrier. And you can feel the thing starting to, like, you can count the time that this thing has got left in seconds. Do you reinforce it? Do you switch to a different thing? What do you do?
Oh,
because you can throw another burn at it and reinforce it, or you could do something else.
Oh, I have a horrible idea.
You have. I can't wait to hear the horrible idea. Please share.
So, like, as these are all coming up, it's just getting dense. I imagine, like, Concorde 2 kind of flies up and is just like, looks up at that stuff, and Concorde's like, I have a horrible idea and you're going to hate this. Even though it's him. But
so you're saying it to your assistant construct thing?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
So basically,
And Ghost
what
Girl,
I'm,
Charlotte's down below saying, I can hear that, and I think you're probably right.
but no, basically at this point, what Concord wants to do is like take the construct, see if he can like gather all of them up, like try to like focus them all in one area. Because we're
So-
gonna use
Gather
we're
up
gonna use
when you say construct, you mean the bots? Or what
the
do you...
bots.
All right, so
Yeah, use the construct basically to gather up their attention.
Oh, I see. Your construct to get the bot's attention. Okay.
Yes.
All right. This is with the barrier still nominally up for a few more seconds?
Nominally up.
Okay. Shuddering.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Him like the construct flying up out of one of the parts, and it's like, you want to get in there, you have to go through me.
Oh, so you're kind of opening and putting the construct in front of it?
Yeah, basically hoping that most of them are going to like funnel for that spot.
They're like killer sheep. Once one of them figures out where the hole is, the rest of them are going to pile in there, even to their detriment. I have no
So
I categorically have no respect for sheep, FYI. I grew up on a farm, so I don't. So okay, they're coming at him. What happens? What do you do?
so basically that's when like as I kind of see like the shield kind of concaving a little bit for them to like funnel.
Yeah.
And then actual Concord just sort of like line up right underneath the construct, like trying to hold them back. And then it's the, big blast upward.
You're going to try to directly engage in combat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It could happen. It might eventually work.
I do have a reality storm now.
Okay. You've got burn to go. I see. You're going to figure out how to directly engage by not having to roll directly engage anymore.
Oh no, I have to roll it.
Oh, you have to roll it still? Okay, I got to look up Reality Storm now. I'm very excited. I want to see this.
You channel a destructive burst with your powers. Spend 1 burn to directly engage a threat using your powers, rolling freak instead of danger. If you do so, you will cause unwanted collateral damage.
Is this the weapon of final compassion?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The weapon of final compassion. Compassion, the fact that compassion is your attack mode makes me fear the concordance.
It really should.
You channel a destructive burst with your powers. 1 burn to directly engage a threat using your powers. Freak instead of danger. If you do, it will cause unwanted collateral damage unless you spend another burn. You've got 3 to go. So.
Yeah, but I'm worried. So we'll see how this works out.
Okay, so you're rolling freak.
Yep. And the weirdness, because so I got my +1 from burning with honor.
Yes.
And I don't have a penalty to directly engage, but I do have a penalty to unleash your powers. So I'm adding 2 onto the roll basically to negate that part.
You're adding 2 onto the roll.
To negate the -2 from hopeless when I roll freak.
Because hopeless is a
-2 to unleash your powers.
Right.
But the sheet makes it just a flat -2 to freak.
Right. And you're just directly, and you don't have a penalty to directly engage.
It's literally the only roll I don't have a penalty to at the moment.
You're just using a different stat for the same function. Yeah, that scans. That's cool. All right, so yeah, do that. Do that dice magic. I get that. What the hell? Okay then. Okay. When you directly 10 pick 2 okay, so I'm assuming resist or avoid their blows is somewhere in your option list. What's the other thing that you do? I mean, certainly opportunity for allies makes it a clean getaway.
I think we're gonna open the path for everybody else.
Alternately impress, surprise, or frighten the opposition by making sure this ends up on some Rook security tape.
Oh no, actually, I have a thing. I have a thing for that.
You have a thing for that? For terror?
Yeah, because I also picked up worship.
You picked up what?
Worship. When you put on a tremendous display of might,
Oh,
spend
that's a
one
different.
burn to all your audience into silence, respect, or inattention.
So do you? Okay, so we spent one burn for the attack. Do you spend another burn to avoid like horrifying collateral damage?
I really set all this up so that I could break something, so that I could get over.
Okay. You
So
don't
that I
have
could
to.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And so you're not putting a burn into that. Are you putting a burn into the worship thing so it's scary? What?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so um 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 um. All right, so somewhere as this thing is about to go, Charlotte's like, oh dear, and she grabs Ted and Rossum by the scruff of the neck and takes them down into the ground about 10 feet. We'll say Otto and Phoenix are far enough away. It's not really an issue. He actually Otto probably, but it got thick enough to start to bring down the barrier. Otto probably called the thing, called Phoenix off and away because it's just, it's gotten to the point where it's too many and the thing's ignoring damage it's taking. So we don't have to worry about those guys. So okay. Link and Rossum2 and Alicia and Harry emerge from the facility to one of those perfect circular excisions from the buildings. You know what I'm talking about? Where like everything inside of a perfect sphere is just gone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like part of the building is missing. It's just been cut away. There's a perfect like rounded divot out of the ground. Ghost Girl and Ted and Rossum1's upper bodies are sticking up out of the ground because she went down, but then she, the ground is kind of gone. So they're just there, haven't come back up yet because they're not sure. You're stepping out into this, and the bots are still like kind of falling out of the sky from where they got knocked. But yeah, it's like the blast with like the extra energy curl blast around it, curling like little energy extra signature around it. Does that sound about right, Concord?
I was also thinking of the movie Armageddon, where there's all the meteors just falling from the sky, because I imagine robot fiery wreckage falling from the sky is probably not the best thing.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did all of them?
There's definitely going to be some PR problems from random bots falling down, blast thing, the thoughtless and irresponsible damage to what might have been a still active nuclear facility. That kind. It wasn't obviously, but yeah, but man, that's a lot of cut loose there. Also, the last condition I needed this sort of unit to take to kind of take everything down, so that works too. Okay, so you guys step out into this divot out of stuff, and Concord's kind of floating up in what would basically be exactly the center of this sphere, where that was sort of the source of all the energy and stuff like that. It's kind of floating there. Bots falling out of the ground. Charlotte there, Otto and Phoenix kind of coming back in. Leo, what do you do?
Well, if the second Rossum is still wearing that blinking bracelet that we heard about.
No, well, I mean, at some point in time you would have removed it. I mean, he could have certainly had it, still had it on.
If that hadn't happened by now, it'd just be like, give me that.
Yeah, that would have been something to grab. Like, that was the. he did with that what your dad did with like the programming and the chip, sort of like.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is where Rossum is. Come and save him. No. This is where Rossum is. Come and save him. And as you're pulling him up out of this thing, and he's stumbling up, and Ghost Girl's coming out. It's like, very good. You've caught my clone, Leo. Well done, says the one that you've been dragging up out of the ground. And
you are both going to regret the shit out of this.
Well, and see, and this says Rossum1. This is why I said you need to make as many of your creations as you can while you're still young, because eventually memory is who we are, and there's so much inertia of this that I tried to use your ideas for this, but unfortunately, at my age, there's no way to separate. I mean, a few months, a year of separate memory is really hardly enough to make us two individual beings. He's simply too much like me. Yes, he is simply too. I think you mean to say you're simply too much like me. Except for the fact that you were foolish enough to be captured by Aegis but really that's what I designed you for, as a guinea pig, as a sacrificial goat, so that I could work in peace. And they're going back and forth and just being irritating.
We could kill them both.
Oh, yeah. Dave, how good does it feel to be playing somebody who can say that and not be joking? Anyway.
I think the worst punishment is to put you both in a cell together.
I don't know that that's a good idea.
There's a pregnant 2-second two beat pause, and then they both say completely deadpan, "Oh no, not that."
Oh no, Brer Leo, don't throw us into that.
God damn it. So I have a plan to get going pretty soon.
Yeah, we need
to feels like a good wrap up point though.
Okay, so let's do a quick wrap up. First, okay. Let's start with Leo. Leo, image of yourself, closer, further away.
I'm gonna say closer to the team. I felt that both Alicia and Mercury gave really good support. I backed Alicia last time, so Mercury, you have influence threats if you didn't before.
And we will go over. Well, yeah, we'll go over to Mercury, since I think James is probably gonna have to figure out what. Do you have influence over Leo already? Leo? Or, sorry, James? Too many names. Hello?
Wakey, wakey.
Yeah, I'm awake.
I don't do it to tease. I do it out of protracted guilt. Do you have influence over Leo?
Yes,
no?
I do.
You do? Okay. So before you try to figure out what labels to attempt to shift on Leo, I will ask you whether you grew closer to the team, further away, or more into your own image of yourself.
Oh,
I forget to. I need to give you one more. Do I need to give you one more condition? I think I need to give you one more condition. I will in a second. That'll put you at 5. Does that put you
no,
at 5?
I took one more condition.
Oh, you took one from smashing through the. Oh yeah, you did. Never mind. You're right. Yeah, I didn't quite get you to 5. Damn it.
Give me another condition.
5 doesn't take you out. 6 takes you out. You're fine. Still standing.
We'll have a long comfort support session next time with Mercury and Lego.
Boy, will we.
And shawarma.
Shawarma, so much shawarma.
The shawarma scene is clearly a comfort and support session.
I can't comfort and support right now.
You be the recipient of it.
You be the recipient of it. So, closer to the team, further away, more into your own image of yourself.
I think closer to Alicia.
Okay. Cool. You can take potential, or you can clear a condition. And Alicia, I don't know if you did you have influence already?
Let me
check.
check.
Say probably no, but
No, I do not.
So that just happens. No label shifting there. We've before run into games where it's like you have to choose between use your points for giving you an immediate bonus or store them away to give you XP. And this is an equally hard, although somewhat more diabolical choice of, do I take potential or do I heal? That's kind of like, ouch. Alicia, we'll just go right to the people who got their names called. Alicia, closer to the team, further away, more into your name as yourself. I mean, you finally got to fight stuff. It might be your own image of yourself.
I'm going to say image of myself. I was able to actually do some things, which I've not been able to do lately.
I love the parkouring through the thing and doing the overcome. That's very nice. Okay, yeah, great. So that's just you shifting.
So I will. Yep.
As you see fit. And finally, Concord.
Oh yeah, we're totally growing into your own image of yourself. That is always like a really weird thing to say in the first person.
As a planetary ion cannon, yeah.
Yeah. However,
yes.
the more important part of all this was I did protect the facility.
Yes.
So I fulfilled my goal and I get to mark potential.
Well, I mean, you kept the bots away from Rossum, which was, I think, the goal. Protecting the facility, I'm not sure if you qualify for that when a third of it is missing now. But you weren't trying to protect the building. You were trying to keep the bots away from Rossum. So, yes, you accomplished that thing.
Okay, I defeated an enemy.
You defeated the enemy that was, yeah.
I also broke something important.
Yep. So does that clear one of your conditions?
Made a sacrifice of taking on all the bots by myself to give Leo the clear entrance into the facility.
Sure. Are you clearing off some of your? Is this a power move here?
Yeah. Okay. And I totally took foolhardy action by taking on the entire bots by myself without talking to the team.
Sure. And I will, in full disclosure, I am primarily saying yes to that because I know that really Harry's the one who needs to absorb most of the comfort and support next time. So if you clear some conditions, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so I marked potential, cleared angry, guilty, and hopeless.
Very well gamed, and I mean that as a compliment.
You gotta lean into those things.
You gotta lean into those things sometimes. All right, so that is everything. Hopefully, I'm sorry again I had multiple beyond technical things, just multiple interruptions and stuff tonight, just because of the way the night shook out. So I apologize for that.
The pacing was such that we ended up at the right place at the right time. So
yeah, we got where we needed to go eventually. It's I mean, I don't think it surprised anybody that this particular bit ended up taking the whole session. So okay. All right, peoples, guys all, I guess, since Margie isn't here. Thank you very much. I am going to let you go since I know some of you guys need to be someplace, or honestly, just go to sleep, which is what I'm going to do. And